Now, we've been working on something in the background and kept it under the wraps until we were happy with it. And what we've got here is extra water storage. So you would have seen a teaser on a product that we've been working on, and we'll come back to that later in the episode. But for now, we're going to install the 30-litre underbody water tank that goes up underneath the tow bar. One of our favourite mods and most used mods on the Prado was the underbody water tank. And when you have a look down behind this fuel tank, this rear fuel tank, it's quite obvious that you can fit quite a bit in there. That's how the 30-litre tank came to be. So with this install of the rear water tank, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting a level meter in it. I had a level meter in my original tank, the original tank that we toured with. So handy to be able to just press a button and know how much water you have left, to let the kids know to slow down and not use so much water, and to know when to plan to get more water. We're also going to put a pump on, like having the flexibility of being able to flick a switch and have that water come out where you need it to come out. So before we install it, we actually need to prep the tank, and we need to drill a hole for that sender. So I'll show you how to do that. Let's do it. Unboxing. Nice solid box. Some of the hardware, fitting instructions. Even though we're putting a water sender in this one, I'll still install the level meter because I need to block off those holes. It won't work very well if there's two holes there. And thread tape. So originally we had plastic fittings here, but they were breaking due to rocks and stuff being thrown up. So these are nice metal fittings. Okay, time to drill a hole. Caravan water sender. Good for water, not so good for grey water and stuff like that, but reliable. There's nothing really to go wrong with them. So this is the sender. It's the electronic level meter. It's got some electrodes on there and shows you full, half, 3/4 and empty. But what needs to happen is we need to actually put that inside the tank. So we're going to drill a hole here, install that, and then we'll mount it so it's like that. And that's how we're going to get the level, and then we'll plug it up and wire it up. Tighten it up in it. Ooh, look at that bulge. That's how it seals up. Needs a 22mm hole. I've got a drill here with a 22mm hole saw. We'll get drilling. So it's important to be able to reach the bottom. So I need to put the hole around about there. Always helps when you get a sharp drill. We're through. Ooh, almost dropped it in.
Almost.
Oh, I got it. That's hot. Don't do that. Now, we need to deburr it, because sharp edges shouldn't do that. Sharp edges are not good, so I need to deburr it so this doesn't get cut up. So, I'll go ahead and do that.
Oh, I can't with that noise. It's like anti-ASMR.
Let us know if you think we should just have that hole as part of the tank. Get a load of that. So that goes inside, and you can see that I'm rotating it, and it hits the bottom. It hits the bottom there. Okay, we're going to blow it out and try to get as much of this out, and probably best to wash it out and flush it out. We'll do a flush out anyway once we finish installing it. I don't think that's most of it.
When did you first design the 150 water tank?
That was like product number 3 probably. And I reckon it was UVP because I bought a set of UVP. And I bent them straight away. Then there was the rear door table. And then the table slide. Yeah. We're putting a pump on.
We are.
So with the pump, we'll put the fittings on now. Let's find the pump. So they changed the tow bar on us, I think in 2018 when they went to a 3-ton towing capacity. This vehicle's only got the 2.5 ton. And they changed the tow bar, so we had to change these brackets. So we got the tank and the pump installed. We still need to do the wiring and all the plumbing and so forth, and as well as connecting up the sender for the level meter. But before we do that, there's something that we need to do first. So here we are. This is what we've been working on. So they're side steps with inbuilt water tanks. Now, we had to replace our steps anyway, we've damaged them.
There's a big rock step on my side.
We lifted a rear wheel.
Your side step might have.
Yeah, I can make some new sliders. It gives us the opportunity to work on something that is quite obvious. There's massive cavities down the side of the Prado there, and if we can put a step on there and integrate water in there, makes a lot of sense. There's a few challenges around how to actually do that, but this is what we've come up with, and we'll see if it works. We've actually been able to fit 35 litres per side, so 70 litres of extra water in these steps. We're not quite sure what to call them. We call them water steps, side tanks. Help us out. Put something in the comments. So these probably don't look like side steps at all at the moment, and the reason being is there's a few elements to making these work. So one is mounting. These are the brackets that mount to the chassis, and we've had to do it this way because once you've got a tank in the way, there's no way to sort of tighten them up and attach them to the chassis. So these attach to the chassis first. We got these 316 stainless steel tanks that bolt to those brackets, and then we've got an X700 high strength step that bolts to the tank. So having water underneath the steps there makes a lot of sense. Being nice and low, you're using up the space that's otherwise a cavity. Probably helps with the stability of the vehicle as well. And being 35 litres each, quite a useful amount of water. So this tank's not too bad, and this step, but altogether they're 29 kilos a side. It's not too bad. That's come in fairly light. That hole there is for our level meter, so we know exactly how much water we have. Now, also this design allows us to create a step that's just a step without a tank, and that gives you the flexibility of having either a step on one side, a tank on the other, 2 tanks. These are tacked up prototypes. These are for test fitment. These have been designed off the 3D scan, so really keen to see how well they fit. So let's get them up on the car. So the tank here's got some mounts which the step bolts to, and these just slide on. How nice is that? Beautiful. Line up the bolts. Don't you love when they all line up first go? Look at that. It's always good when that first prototype gets up, eh? And do a different style of tap. Be funny to get your water out of that. I suppose that's why you need a pump. Pump in here. That's what prototyping's for. That's a problem there. I can't get that fast, but I can angle it like this.
Oh yeah.
That'll work, which will be fine. That should work. Okay. That's the pump. Why that's gappy, because this is sitting low. I don't know, in height. So if I adjusted that up, okay, so we've got both sides on. Pretty happy with the fact that the first prototypes fit up so well. Got all the bolts in, everything bolts up. There's a little bit of adjustability in it, but we'll probably put a bit more in there. But it's always nice when everything bolts up. It's not too bad to install. That was one of the issues that I thought we might have, because having a water tank there, it's really hard to get access to any of the bolts. So the system we got where we're bolting a plate this way and then bolting up works quite well. So there was a few different ways we could have approached these tank steps. What we ended up with was having the tank having some structural components and baffles. You'll see these 3 baffles in there. These are actually part of the structure to help hold that step in place. And what that means also is, instead of having a tank in place, we could have just some brackets that hold this step if you don't need the tank. So that's part of the design. That's why this is separate to the tank. Be interested to see what people would do with this extra amount of water and how they might interact with it. Would you actually use it for drinking water? Would you fill it with water from the creek and use it just for showers? That's probably what I'd look at doing. So I'm going to have a pump setup where I can throw the pickup into the creek and fill them up with water so I can have showers. Would you want to be able to transfer water from one to the other? How would you do that? Obviously, I'll put the pump on the back. Makes it much easier to get to the water. I've allowed for a water sender opening here so that you know how much water's in each side. I've put a fill point on the front here, 25mm fill point, and I'm going to take that to the bonnet, underneath the bonnet. So plenty of different considerations. So there's a step here. It's actually come up quite nice and level and aligned, and I think it's well proportioned. Now we wanted a step to be able to access the roof rack and so forth. This is actually Strenix X700 material, nice and strong. I thought I'd use that material for this design, just to add strength to the tank. They're bolted on to the tank with brackets. The tank actually extends inside this step a little bit to increase the capacity. So we made the bottom of this step here just in line with the bottom of the vehicle. Now the tank actually sits a little bit lower than the chassis, but it sits up a lot higher than a lot of the other lower points, just for example the cross member and the fuel tank. Now having that little bit of extra on the bottom actually gives us a lot more capacity, and I believe if it's just a step for water, it'll be fine. So really happy with how this test fit went. What we're going to do now, we're going to take them off, get them fully welded, because they're only tacked welded at the moment. These steps here, we'll weld them up, dress them back, get them powder coated, and there's still a bit more to do to get them all functional, like hooking up the pump and all plumbing and the water level senders and meters. So went really well. Let's get these off.
Have we got much more left to work out, do you think?
I've applied a lot of the learnings from one of the products that we've done over the years, and I've tried to think through all the issues that we might come across. I still need to figure out a few things, and we might leave these till later so we can work those out.